is about. I'm a black man trying not to get caught. I'm just trying to solve the puzzle like a jigsaw. You know it's a big world, so easy to get lost. I'm just trying to solve the puzzle like a jigsaw.
Well, hello, blacks, and everybody in between. I am Josh Rogers.
I am Bryan here.
And we are here for another episode, a very different episode of the Jigsaw Podcast. We definitely going to talk about the perils.
The perils.
The praises. We're going to find them.
We're going to find some joy
the
in
productivity. And the
Jesus.
pump and circumstance of what it means to be black millennials trying to figure this thing called life out. Because if no other day, today's
the day.
I don't know where the puzzle pieces are landing. I don't know how we're figuring it out. This may be a heavy question because, let me just tell y'all.
Yeah.
There's no rhyme or reason to today's episode. There is no, if we play a song, it's because that's just how we feel. So there's no official song of the week. There is no letter. I'm sure there's a letter in the mailbox. We ain't reading it. Doing this podcast is a form of self-care. So this is Pocket of Joy. Yeah. This is a living room and a greater conversation. There is everything. No blessed up report. Rest in peace, Quincy Jones.
Listen,
we'll do something to honor your legacy.
We will
officially soon. But yeah, so I'm just gonna start it off. What do you feel right now?
So I wrote some things down, and we on the show we talk about duality and like multiple things being true at the same time.
Yeah.
And one of the things is like I'm stunned but not shocked.
Yeah, that's
fair. What I'm saying? I am hurt, but I'm not even I'm not hopeless, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm definitely hurt. I'm like a ball of emotions. Because I had hope.
Mm-hmm.
I had hope.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe America would get it right. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But then it kind of like slapped me in the back of the neck with like, nigga, this is America.
Mm-hmm. This is America.
And then also trying to find, because we're faithful people, trying to find like the why. You know what I'm saying? Like the how, the God, what are you doing in this moment? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm trying not to spiritual bypass, but in this moment, sometimes you want a spiritual bypass. You want to kind of get past the immediate grief, but you also like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know if I answered your question, but like I'm all the things. I'm all the things. What about you?
So, similar place. I think for me, it's gut wrenching because I had so much hope.
Yeah.
I think I knew what America was capable of because we did it once. Yeah. And I also knew that this wasn't going to be like because I looked at the Obama numbers when he beat McCain. It was like 365 electoral votes to 1 something. Right. It was just a crazy win. So I knew it wasn't going to be that. I also knew it was going to be even tighter than Biden versus Trump. Yeah. I didn't expect this. Right. And I think part of me last night, as I was watching I ain't gonna lie to you, I threw bluffs. Like I was like, where is Stacey Abrams? Like I was just I was trying to rationalize why it's not happening. And this is no indictment to Stacey because I believe like it is not black women's job to save us. But in my brain, my immediate reaction was Stacey Abrams. The reason why her name came up because I'm thinking about the people who are very pivotal to helping moving the needle forward, specifically in Georgia, and I think my brain just went to the fact that she wasn't a presence. And I apologize for that because it's not her fault. But I have to admit that's where my brain went. But it's also not her responsibility to we know what was at stake, right? So it's ultimately on us to have made that decision. And so I was in a place of the grief. I went through the steps of blaming people, of being angry, and I'm still in the middle of all of that, I think. So I don't really know where I sit. As I've said before, Kamala Harris was never the perfect candidate.
No.
I think in a lineup of people, she may have been maybe third on my list to like rise up to the ranks. But I did support what she represented.
Mm-hmm.
I supported what she wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I also recognized the intrinsic value that she brought. I also recognized the credibility of her resume. Yeah. Because here's the thing: you can have several people who are in like, and this is what I mean by if we had like a traditional, what is it called? Primary, right? Yeah. She may not have been my choice. What I mean by that is that you can have 5 or 6 people who are all overqualified and highly qualified and still have a preference toward one or the other. Yeah. We didn't have that option. So it wasn't like, and she also wasn't my default choice to say that, because I don't want to say that either, but I just chose to no. I supported Kamala Harris because I really believed in what she represented. I also really believed in the resume that she had. What I'm saying is that I also saw her run against some folk in 2020. Mm-hmm. 2020. Yeah. And even then, right. So that's what I mean when I say she probably was like second or third on my list of overall candidates. But also those people are also not running anymore. They also were not viable candidates. So none of that even matters. I'm just giving context to where I know that people were on the fence about, because I saw people say, well, this is just a clown show and I'm just voting for Kamala because of blah, blah. And if my parents didn't fight for this right, I wouldn't be voting at all. Like, I honor our ancestors and what they did to provide the right to vote for us. But regardless of their sacrifice, I'm voting because of what's at stake now. Yeah, I honor what they did for sure. Like, I don't want to take that away. But I'm also voting for what's at stake today. Yeah. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm voting in the same ways they were voting for what was at stake then, for their right to vote, for their white, you know what I'm saying, right to be treated equally or fairly. And we're still fighting for some of those rights. No. That's what I'm voting for today. So yes, I honor them and their sacrifice, but that is not the only thing fueling me, because I understand critically what a Donald Trump presidency can be. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the dissonance that's about to exist in the fact that, you know, the Donald Trump tax cuts are about to expire in 2025, which means that the Biden tax policies and things are about to kick in officially, which means that when the economy turns around, he's going to get credit for work that he did not do. Yeah. And that's the same thing we saw in his first term. He thrived off the Obama tax plan and policies. Yeah. And then when his stuff hit, Biden... If you don't understand history any other way, look at when Obama took office. We had 8 years of Bush. Yeah. The housing crash happened under Obama, not because he did anything wild. The housing crash happened in 2008, months into his presidency. He didn't have time to crash the economy. Right? But he got blamed for it. We lived through that recession and the housing crisis under him because of 8 years of poor economic policies. Yeah. And he got us out of that. It took him 8 years to get us out of that. And we began to thrive economically under a Donald Trump presidency, but not because of him. No. And then what he did in 4 years, boom, we saw the effects of that in the next presidency. Yeah. And now, with not to say that Biden's policies are perfect, we're likely going to see a turn that slowly is going to happen, but it is going to have nothing to do with the man who just took office. And that's the part of that's so disheartening for me. It's almost like if you gambled, right? Yeah. And you've been putting pennies in the slot all night, and the person behind you put 1 penny in and we hit the jackpot. It's like that's what's about to happen, and he's going to try to take credit because I'm going to say this, I'm going to throw it back to you. This election was not only like where we saw misogyny and racism win, we saw the uneducated win. Yes. A bunch of people who have no idea what anything civics means at all. They have no, like, when I see the interviews of people say about the tariffs, I saw one, they was like, oh yeah, we need the tariff info. And we was like, who pays the tariffs though? We do. It was like, the other people pay tariffs, like, no. The consumers do. Yes. Right? And they don't know these things. They're just spewing out the same stuff Donald Trump is saying. So that's the thing. Like, it is people who are supremely, and I know I saw the jokes, like some of y'all don't know nothing about social studies because your football coach was your social studies teacher. I'm grateful that I didn't have that thing. I didn't have that, but it is true. I think a lot of us we saw social studies and civics as this class we needed to get by. And we are and which is why I believe the Republicans are trying so hard to ban, like put all these restrictions on education, ban history, because the more we know, like, if you are truly educated, there's no way in the world you will fall. To me, I'm not going to say you can't be a Republican, but there's no way in the world you will fall on the side of Donald Trump. Yeah. And I'll pause there because
because to me, I feel like, and that's and to your point, I'm looking at the long game, right? I'm looking at Supreme Court justices. I'm looking at what he was able to do in the 4 years to take us down. I'm thinking about him wanting to end the Department of Education, to end the IRS, like all these things and institutions that make the country what it is. And then you openly saying the LARP, then I'm going to, hopefully not have to vote again, and all that kind of stuff, kind of eliminate some of the things and try to prop yourself up. To your point, like I had a racist white teacher in high school who taught us political science, Mr. Westlake. And one thing I've always learned is he said that the current administration, basically economy, as you say, is based off the previous administration. That's if he ain't teach one thing, he taught that, and I've always remembered that, which is why I really wanted Hillary to win, because I knew that she was going to get that wave of a good economy, and then if she would have won,
and ride the wave,
she would have rode the wave.
Say what you want to say about the Clintons under Bill.
Listen. And because it wasn't Bush's policies, that because he was only there 4 years, and then we had some economic challenges Bill's first go around, but then we were up. So that's the thing, that it's like knowing the reality of it all, and really knowing and being educated on things, and then seeing how the voter turnout was less. When I saw the statistic, mind you, I avoided TV yesterday, but I went to go get some breakfast, and it said early voting was down in 35 states. I said, oh, that's a big indicator of, because in most Democrats usually vote early, which is what kind of beat Donald Trump last time. It was all the
early voting and them absentee ballots. Yep.
Which is what won last time, because most folks don't vote on election day. Like Democrats don't vote on election day for whatever reason. Don't vote on it. So I was like, damn, like, okay. So then he saw a few things, and I kept, but then also there were some factors, and putting things into context. Again, got into the race at the last minute. You know what I'm saying? Like she did a great job for being in the race at the last minute.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like you made lemonade out of being, 3 months, maybe 3 months. You were in the race for 3 months. You know what I'm saying?
And the amount of money and support she was able to galvanize and raise in that time was
right.
Mind-blowing.
Granted, it was tough in those swing states. Being a black woman, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was an uphill battle. It was an uphill battle. I will say that. So at this point, like, I'm trying to find the light. I think that it's just the understanding of the darkness of it all.
Yeah.
I know what the darkness is. I know what the darkness is.
So you just said something about it being an uphill battle because she's a black woman. And I think what we have to recognize is that a lot of conservative people, black and white, let's just keep it a buck.
Yeah.
We're saying things like, we're not going to vote for her just because she's a black woman, and we need to take race out of this. Well, the white people haven't. Exactly. A lot of racist white people haven't. And I believe, this is why I say the uneducated won, but I have to preface that by saying it was racism and misogyny that won as well. Because the reason why I believe we saw an uptick in these rural Republicans voting, because they did not want a black woman. And
no.
I honestly believe that a woman can be president, but I think it is going to be so much of a task.
Yeah.
It's been proven for a black woman to be president. And I really, because you had the men who can't, like, there were older black men like, ain't no woman supposed to be blah, blah. Like, you have that, you have that exists. Then you have white men that just don't want no black person, and then a black, you don't even respect your own white wife. So you want a black woman to lead you and say that she's leading you, and things like that. And this goes beyond, like, because people complained about, oh, she ain't black enough, she faked that. But when it came down to it, you recognized her as a black woman.
Without a doubt.
And you did not want to put that black woman in office. Right. And this goes to the thing where we've heard it all the time, but it was magnified in scandal. We have to forget twice as good, sometimes 4 times as good, just to get a third of what they got. This man is a convicted felon, a rapist.
Yes.
Right?
Fraudster.
fraudster, filed bankruptcy multiple times. Mm-hmm. Businesses have closed. An unsuccessful presidency. Started an insurrection. Right? Thrives on hate. Is clearly losing his mind based on his last rallies. He is not as mentally competent. He ain't never been mentally competent, in my opinion. But right. I feel like he's really losing his marbles now. That person, a reality TV star, is his greatest claim to fame. Mm-hmm. That person beat out a person who has served at every level of government, Bryan. Yeah. Local, state, county, U.S. government, and she made it to one of the highest, the second highest office in our land. And you let a convicted rapist, racist reality star beat out that person. Even if we took gender out, which I don't want to do because I don't wash away anybody's identity. If we just lay the resume side by side, there's no way in the world, if we were on a job interview, that Donald Trump gets the job. No. If we do a criminal background check, which I don't always agree with, Donald Trump doesn't get the job. The man can't even vote in his own state because of the laws, but yet he can be elected a president.
Yeah, it's
like
wild.
This is the things, these is the realities and this is why it's so like, it's emotional and baffling because this just doesn't people who supported him don't surprise me. Because America is racist. But the fact that he can be a candidate, bro. If he applied for a corporate job, he wouldn't even be a candidate. He wouldn't make it past the resume screening, let alone become the top 2 candidates. Yeah. What?
And 80 million people was like, all those negative statistics, like just Donald J. Trump. Like what? Like that is to me, it's the. And on top of it, I'm an emotional person. I know that. It's like y'all hearts are either so hardened to the lives of people that you're going to align your heart with this man who don't care about nobody but himself. Don't even care about his wife or his kids. He don't care about nobody but himself. And again, I think I said it before. Obama is the hope of what the United States is. Kamala Harris is what the hope of the United States is. Donald J. Trump is who the United States is. And low key, we deserve this nigga. And I almost cursed. We deserve this dude. Like the country deserves him because it is who he is. He's prideful. He's godless. You know what I'm saying? He's a narcissist. He's all about me, myself, and I. He's uneducated. It's all these things that the Americans are.
Yeah.
And it's like we deserve. And at this point is like I don't want things to be bad, right? But sometimes you want things to get bad so you can be like, this is what y'all wanted. You like, and not trying to be biblical, but y'all niggas wanted a king. God said, all right, Saul, and he did wicked in the sight of God. You know what I'm saying? Like, have him, right? Y'all wanted this nigga to be your idol, want to be your God. Let's see it. Let's see what he does. And no, this was your choice. You made this decision.
You made this decision, and y'all have to live with it.
Live with it. Sit in it. So if he does all of these negative things,
when these poor white men get poorer,
and they lose their jobs and all the manufacturing, all the kind of stuff that they do that gets outsourced, all the things that the Mexicans that y'all say taking the jobs and stuff like that they're gonna end up doing because you are doing saying all these things, and the people like you and I who kind of work in spaces who are corporate and we're in different. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, and that's the thing about it. Doesn't affect me personally. It doesn't affect me in terms of other than identity and stuff like that. But in terms of like economics, I'm probably better. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. You know what I mean? In terms of all that kind of stuff that people vote on, which again, his policies are terrible. But in terms of all the things that people say, we're in a certain class of people who he's working for. Like it affects so many more people, and the people that went into the booth being lazy, uneducated, self-centered, like that, it's so bothersome. And then the church people who, you know, God is on the throne, and I feel like I'm ranting, so I'm gonna throw back to you, but I feel like there's so much anger, all this, and I'm trying not to curse because I know your parents listen, but all this like, what? People, we heard this. Oh, God is going to bring Trump is going to bring people back to God. Have you ever considered that maybe he's going to be so bad, so demonic, so evil times get so perilous that that's the reason people go back to God. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes people think that all the prophecies of like, yeah, he's gonna bring us back to the Lord. Like, what if it's the peace? If you think about it, peace doesn't make you want to go to heaven, right? It's the persecution of it all. Like, so what if all this stuff that y'all been prophesying all these years of prophet line, all that kind of stuff is really persecution and life getting really bad, right? Under this president you voted for. So then now that's when the revival comes. Like, have you ever thought about, you know what I'm saying? Like those things.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just baffling. It's like so many, like people are just walking around this earth with, and it's not about differencing of views, but it's like a difference of just integrity.
Yeah.
That's the thing that it is a difference of integrity and moral and like, and I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but like you literally said, let's put the most immoral person to lead the country and then say that
it was God's choice.
It was God's choice.
So I want to go back to the spiritual folk too, because I have my issues with them as well in this, and that we are when God sent his son, his name was Jesus.
Yes.
And in that, but let me take that back. Even before we got Jesus, even though the God of the Old Testament was like hellfire and brimstone, people still had the ability to make choices. Now, the consequences for those choices was much stronger.
Yeah.
Back then. But I want to talk about the children of Israel when they got promised the promised land.
Yeah.
When we say God gonna take care of us, God, let's talk about when they got out of Egypt. When they got out from under their Pharaoh, had a miracle, crossed the Red Sea, and went in and was supposed to travel through the wilderness.
Yeah.
What was it, like a 3 to 4 day trip max or something like that? Lasted 40 years. Why?
40 years.
Because of their choices. We're not even going to the choice of being disobedient. Just their choices. Now, Josh, what does that have to do with anything? Y'all keep saying God gonna take care. He's the only one who leads me. You know what God did in the wilderness? He yet took care of them.
He took care of them.
He had manna. If they ate,
talk about it.
Their clothes grew on them.
Yeah, and they didn't look like they didn't look bad.
They didn't look bad and raggedy. They were still like the people. Now there were some people who died, of course, by virtue of life and times. But God he preserved them. He sustained. He took care of them.
He did.
They were able to low-key thrive in a wilderness situation.
Right.
So that lets me know that, yes, God will take care of us.
He will.
He will sustain us. You might still be able to buy your Gucci belt.
Yeah.
You may not miss not one, because I didn't miss outside of being laid off. Even in my laid off, God took care of me. But you know what you said, Bryan, that was true? That didn't make me any less depressed during that pandemic. Yeah. Yeah. Because I lost my job, right? Yeah. I was late. It was the first time I ever got laid off. I felt like a failure, and it wasn't even my fault. Right? And it took months for me to find another job. When I finally got another job, guess what? It was a racist job with a bunch of white men who did not like my blackness in that space. So God yet provided, but I went through a season of hell. Even after I got another job, was still hell before I got to the space where I can feel like this is where God leaded me to be. Yeah. Right? So I went through a wilderness season. And these wasn't even my choices. Yeah. Right? Like these, because the job that I took, I didn't necessarily want, but I took it because that extra little money from unemployment ran. I was getting it once it ran out, bro. I was getting $300 a week. What am I gonna do with that? Right. You know what I'm saying? I got a family of 4.
I was about to say, it ain't even $100 per person.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, needless to say, God will take care of us, but that does not. But here's the thing: in Him taking care of us, did not take them out the wilderness. No, that's the point I want us to understand. Yeah, He sustained, but they remained in the wilderness because of their choices. Their choices, and we have just made a choice to go in the wilderness. Yeah, it does not mean that God won't help us, but it doesn't take away the fact that we are in the freaking wilderness. Yeah. Right? So, and that's the thing I want that's what I want, specifically my black folk and all y'all coaches who go into convocation. This ain't your chance to dance over this and shout over this. This is our chance to have righteous indignation to determine, now that we have one of the largest gatherings of black Christian bodies, how do we shift our programming to address the hurt that niggas are feeling in their audience this week? And Ahika Mashah ain't gonna do it. Yeah. And I know I ain't coaching no more, but I come from it, and we can't dance over this. No. We ain't gonna be able to, like you said, prophesy God is the king and the government is on this show. He is. All of those things are true, but it doesn't change the fact that this is a poor decision that we've made, and we're gonna have to live out the consequences of our decision. That's what I want us to. That's what I want us to say. God is not taking consequences away from us. For every seed you sow, we're going to reap a harvest of this seed.
Yeah, we are.
And that's the part that y'all niggas ain't getting when y'all want to go extra spiritual on it. There's a harvest coming based on the seed that we've sown. Just like I said, I said two things on my Instagram over the past couple of weeks. One, let's talk about immigration policy. Jesus was an immigrant.
Yeah.
He was born in Bethlehem. He was Jesus of what?
Nazareth.
That ain't Bethlehem last time I saw. And the way he was skipping on these donkeys all over these places and crossing countries and county lines and stuff like that.
Right.
Like he didn't have no papers, no documentation. If he tried to come up in America today, you would not welcome your savior because you would say he need to have the right papers. He just can't come over here like that. And he was a brown man.
Yeah.
That y'all scared of anyway because you born up in that region that y'all afraid of, right? That's number one. So immigration. So even the stuff y'all talk about don't even line up with the Bible that you read. Number two, if we look at education, bro. Yeah. Let's just look at education. Especially some of these poor white folk. Your poor impoverished white child goes to a Title I school. Guess who funds Title I schools? The Department of Education.
Yeah,
the department that Donald Trump wants to eliminate. Yeah. So guess what? Your child probably already didn't have the best educational resources. They're about to have less of them.
And here goes the thing. And if you don't have education, then you're probably going to find a hard time getting any type of employment in a lot of those jobs that, you probably do with low employment. Fast food is going to be fast food, but also like manufacturing jobs and things of that nature, like factories are going obsolete. So you are voting against your interest. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. It's like and that's the thing. That's the thing to me is like it's like, okay, bet. Have at it. This is what it is. This is what you decided. And to your point, those are the choices you made. The idolatry, and on top of that, you while you were in the wilderness, you set up idols. You know what I'm saying? Like so, it's all playing out. I'm just sad to say it's all playing out. Like I didn't want to record this morning.
No, I feel you,
but to me, I'm just getting to a place where it's kind of like, okay, like it is what it is. To your point, you kind of encouraged me as far as in the wilderness, the choices. I'm only one person. You know what I'm saying? I was part of the group project. I did my part on the group project.
This is why I hated them in school, though, bro. This is why I hated them in school.
I did my part, and at this point, like I know I'm gonna be fine. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm going to be fine. I know what the Lord's going to do within me. He's going to do with my family. But to me,
it's always that but because it ain't ultimately all about me.
It's not about me. You know what I'm saying? It's not about me, bro. It's not. And I work in finance. So certain things, and I'm pretty sure in boardrooms right now, people are celebrating. The market is going crazy.
Bro, I work in DEI. I don't know what's about to happen.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know what's going on. That's what I'm saying. Like people don't understand like the things that is going on, bro. And you work in nonprofit space. This nigga don't care about nonprofit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's a massive nonprofit backed by a lot of white evangelicals. I know the issue that go on with the company I work for. So ultimately, I think my company is going to be okay. And I believe my job function is going to be okay because our company has doubled down on it. But guess what? In 2 days, Bryan, I'll be in one of those crucial swing states that went red, leading a session on dismantling white saviorism. What am I supposed to say in this session now? Because I'm ready to be Malcolm. I'm ready to be James Baldwin up in that joint, and I can't.
But here's the thing: the country has spoken. They said, "F all that. We don't care.
We don't care about none of that. So why am I going anyway?"
You know what I'm saying? Like they chose who they chose. I want white savior. I want misogyny. I want racism. They said I want what I want, and it's like, bet you gonna get what you gonna get. And when your sons are going to, like the Bible says, when your sons are going to war, and they taking your money, and they taking your women, they doing all these things. It was your choice.
It was your choice.
It was your choice.
I'm pretty sure there's so much more we can rant and rave about because I can really stay on the Christians for a long time. Oh, the other people I want to talk about real quick too are the people who woke up this morning and said, well, listen, I'm going to be great. Go get your money. Go get this. I think to me that's you're not reading the room. No, I think that's loud and inappropriate.
It's insensitive.
It's super insensitive because you're right. in a sense, because Donald Trump only cares about the wealthy, there are going to be some things that's going to benefit entrepreneurs and founders and stuff like that. And you can probably find ways to create and maximize. Yeah. But we saw that in the pandemic too. So many small businesses were launched in the pandemic because of the opportunities that came from small business owners and blah, 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 blah. Again, doesn't change the overall effect that is there. Most of my meetings started to get canceled today. Because I think everybody was in a space that was like, I ain't even have to take a mental health day. Like, I had a call earlier, but outside of that one, they all started falling off. And I was the leader of a couple of them. And I started like, nope. And I literally put in there, I do not have the capacity to lead this meeting today. I need time to process. We will pick this up at the next one. Like, I'm not making any apologies for it.
Yeah.
So I just think it's insistent to be like, listen, it is what it is. I'm gonna be rich today, and I'm gonna be rich tomorrow. You're gonna be broke today. You're gonna be broke tomorrow. No, there are some people who are going to struggle. Like, struggle. I know people personally, bro, who were evicted and put out of their homes during the housing crisis. This ain't no just, I'm gonna make my money today type of situation.
No, and to me, it's like, and again, people are gonna struggle, but again, to me, like, it's a hard thing. So the heart of the people, right? People are gonna struggle worse, and people are not gonna care. You know what I'm saying? The heart is getting so hard that people just don't care. Like, you don't care about people. You don't care about people. You don't care about women. You don't care about children. You don't care about human beings. You know, that's the thing that it's hurtful, because it's like, y'all really don't care. And it's not even at this point. Again, y'all were fighting against black people, right? And you're killing yourself.
I'm about to say, it ends up happening every time. Come here, Asian Americans in affirmative action.
Right.
Y'all was mad at us, and then we looked at the numbers at Duke and Harvard and Princeton. Our numbers remain the same. Your enrollment numbers decreased, which means that you were the ones that were actually less qualified for the admissions roles. Affirmative action, black people have always known that affirmative action has benefited us the least.
Exactly. Most things benefit us the least.
White women have benefited the most because y'all are model minorities. Y'all probably had some additional benefits, and then black folk. But we still had to earn every single spot. The only thing affirmative action did for us was have somebody actually look in our direction, because they would never look at the poor black kid. You know what I'm saying? I went to a Title I high school. I graduated with a 5.1, nigga.
Wow.
3.98 unweighted. Dang near perfect GPA. If it wasn't for affirmative action and some other programs, they wouldn't have looked at that black boy in that Title I high school. They didn't care nothing about me.
Yeah.
But it was because these programs and my application got a real chance.
Yeah.
That's what I said it before, and I said again, that's what these things are. But when y'all try to fight against us, well, F black people, forget her, they this, and that, you end up harming yourselves more.
Yeah.
Because you know there are more poor whites than there are blacks. It's not reported like that. But percentage-wise, more of y'all are poor than us. Yeah. Which means that if the working class is damaged, has the negative residual effects of this election, you're going to be impacted the most.
Yeah.
When Donald Trump do these tariffs and inflation begins to continue to go up, you're going to be impacted the most.
Yeah.
So anyway, I know we just wanted to come in here and give like a state of the Jigsaw Union.
Yeah.
Get our emotions out, talk. Bryan, as we look forward, I know it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but what is next for us? For you?
For me, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. I'm gonna say I don't know. I don't know. It's gonna be a wait and see. Still bracing for the worst. And just seeing what happens. What about you?
I'm in the same way. What I am thinking through is though the ways in which we can organize and do things. So I'm gonna say this out loud so I can hold myself accountable. I've been looking to start my DEI consulting business for a while, but I think it's time to really do it. And that'll be my way of kind of organizing. And within that, maybe, hosting some like coffee chats with DEI practitioners. Because I feel like we need space to just sometimes come and talk and emote and have that space. So for me, I want to do what's in my power to begin to not just like the same like fervor I had in trying to what was I about to say? Getting people to vote and all this other kind of stuff. I want to provide the same. I want to be able to be just as passionate about providing resources. And I don't have the answers right now. These are just things that came to my mind over the last night or so. So don't expect them to be built out in the next day, or because if you know Josh Rogers, they might be built out in the next day. Who knows?
Probably.
However, what I'm saying is though, bro, I don't know a real path forward, but I do know there's an indignation for me to do something, even in my church. Right. I want to make sure that the programming that we do from that level includes how we pour back into communities, how we, help people live and thrive, not just outside, but we're I think so many times, and I'm gonna leave it at this, even in church, we be so caught up giving to the community that we neglect the people that actually sit in the pews with us. And not knowing that they too be poor, they too be struggling mentally, they too be going through. So I want to make sure that there are wraparound services and things like that can support us through this, because everybody ain't gonna be at the top 1% of givers in your church.
Right.
So what about the people, again, just like we said, what are people that's in our churches that are going to be suffering? I feel like with the position that I hold, it's part of my responsibility to do it. So I want to be able to begin to think through, after I navigate a few more of my emotions, what can we do to make sure that these next 4 years are not pure hell? For whatever's in my power. And I know I don't have a whole lot of power, but the power, the influence that I do have, what can we do? I'm interested in things like Afrotech next week to see what that looks like, what conversations exist, what the vibe is going to be among a gathering of Black folk looking for jobs and opportunities. And you just got hit in the stomach, right, by this. So I don't know. I am pessimistic, to be honest with you. I don't have a lot of hope right now. And I know faith is the substance of things hoped for, but I don't know what to hope for. Right. If I'm being honest with you, I don't know what to hope for. So my faith is really relying in the fact that Jesus is king. That's it. Like, I know that he's king, and that's all. That's the only truth I have right now. Anything else is just, I would be lying to you and be being fake deep. All I know is that God is still God. I know that for a fact. God is still God, but God ain't my president.
Right. That's it.
God was still God when Saul was king, but he was not. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was still God, but you still had Saul. You still had Pharaoh. You still had Nebuchadnezzar. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of we love to uplift those things.
God was still
God. God was still God doing. He was still God doing Jim Crow. He was still God doing slavery. He was still God doing the civil rights movement. He was still God. But our ancestors still had struggles and fought. Our ancestors were still beaten and persecuted and abused. And he was still God. And I'm sitting in the dissonance of that today. He's still God, but I'm still frustrated.
That's it.
And that's it. Whew. So, nevertheless, this has been an episode. Jigsaw Podcast. I'll let y'all know next week, I'll be deep into Afrotech. Bryan is doing some traveling, so we will likely not see y'all next week, but we're going to do our best to give y'all some content, for the holidays and all the different kind of stuff. Next time we come, we want to be full of a little bit more Jesus joy. Today we need to be James Baldwin, Malcolm X. We need to be all the people, and stuff like that. So we love y'all, appreciate y'all. Take care of yourselves.
Please do.
Take care of yourselves. And this is likely dropping a day early. You're going to get this on a Wednesday. We're recording on a Wednesday. We're just going to put this out here for y'all. This is our kind of like, we in the living room meeting and talking as brothers and sisters and family members. So love y'all. Please, if you need to cancel your meetings, turn off TV, get off social medias, do whatever you got to do. Go read a book, go light a candle, go be like our brother Marcus Thomas. And I'll leave it at that. Do it, whatever you need to. Whatever you need to do to take care of yourself, for real though. Cook your favorite meal. Eat. Break your diet today. Go to the gym and be at the gym for 4 hours if you need to.
Do whatever
you need to do to make yourself feel good. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Bryan, any last words?
Continue to support, subscribe, do all the things. We love you. We appreciate you. We are a community, so if you want anything, you need to reach out to us. Let us know. Reach out to us. It's a great time for community and for family. The jigsaw, the puzzle pieces. We are a family. We do love you. We support you. We thank you for the support. So it's not one way. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, DM us, and we'll reach out and kind of deal with this together, because that's what we are. We are a family, part of a giant tree.
Branching up with the sky. Don't you try to bring you some joy? We are a family. Ooh, it ain't just you and I. Ooh, growing wise and going stronger. We are growing free. Praise God. All you can do is what you can, while you can, very best ways you can. A lot of y'all got caught with y'all work undone. Y'all didn't vote, or you voted for the wrong folk. Nevertheless, let's do better, and let's not ever get caught our work undone again. Love y'all. See y'all next time.
Peace.